Hey, good afternoon. Diaries of a Black Mum. So I've started this series of entries. I said the first two videos gave you a little bit of a background of who I am as a mum. And I'm gonna be sharing, things that are raw for me and my family, my children, and also things that I've experienced as a mum. And also I just want to share things that are gonna help me heal. Now, when I said in my first video, I've done my counselling, it wasn't the very first counselling session I've had in the last 2 years. It's the very first counselling session I've had in London. Okay, so I know that I've had some feedback, and some people think, oh my God, you've gone through all this trauma and you've not had no counselling. No, I have had counselling in my hometown, but since moving, I haven't actually reached out to people.
Canada in about 10 minutes.
Sorry, turn my car off quickly. I don't know what happened there. So this is what I'm doing. I'm doing these videos. It is helping me get it out of my system. It's helping me. So my topic today is about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I know all of us women that have had children, right, we've all got stories on how the birth was, or the births, because I had, there's been women that have had multiple births. I've even had twins, so I've had multiple births, all of our experiences are different. I know that my first daughter's birth was an experience because I didn't know what to expect. But then obviously after having 5 children, in the eyes of my midwife that had my last birth, you would think I should know what to do. And there has been a lot of press around black women, especially. They're more likely to die in the labour room than any other ethnicity out there in the world. It's a fact. You can Google it. I don't need to give you the statistics, but if you researched it, you would know. You would read it and hear, see for yourself. I'm not just chatting, open blind facts. These things are actually happening. So my experience with my youngest child, who is soon to be 5, was, I was experiencing contractions. I knew I was in labour. We went down to the labour room, the labour ward, and I was told, you're how much centimetres dilated, and you best just get ready because the baby's coming. But deep down in my soul, something didn't feel quite right. And I kept saying to the midwife, I don't feel well. I actually feel quite poorly. I was given painkillers. I was given gas and air, but I kept saying to her, no, something doesn't feel right. And she was just ticking off her little chart, her box, making sure she's checked my blood pressure, she's checked I'm dilated down there, and how big has it got, and just checking that I was comfortable. But I was saying to her deep down, no, my spirit is telling me it's not right. Something's not right. I need to get additional help. And her attitude towards me was, but you've had 4 kids already. Just stop your moaning. And I remember it was really early in the morning because my son was born at like 2:49 a.m. and it's like past 12:30 in the morning. By this point, I'm really tired. And I kept saying to her, I don't feel well. And I was just blatantly ignored. And I said to my partner, I don't normally do this, but you need to press the red button. There was a red button behind us. I said, just press the red button because I need some form of emergency care. And as we pressed the red button, we had 2 doctors and a fleet of nurses, midwives, and a tray, or I don't know, some kind of carry cot, but it was on like a propped up table, and they all came through, whizzing through. And then the doctor was inspecting me and saying, we might have to deliver the child with forceps. And I was like, I don't want my child to be squashed with the forceps on his head. And at this point, they could then see I was getting more distressed. I was getting really tired. Anyway, we gave birth to my son without the forceps. And as he was coming out, he had the cord wrapped around his neck 3 times and underneath his shoulder. So it's wrapped around and also underneath his shoulder. And you can imagine the contractions are wanting you to push and the cord is pulling you back. And this is what was making me feel really unwell. So I then looked at the midwife and I was so disgusted with her. I was so vexed, but at the same time I was tired and I was overwhelmed with emotions because I was happy that the baby's come out and I've heard his little cry. And I just kept saying to his dad, keep your eye on my child. I don't care how much, because I'd lost so much blood as well from just the stress of everything. Like, don't worry about me, just keep your eyes on my son because I don't trust people. And I remember after that, you know, going through flashbacks. I stayed there for the evening and then I came home. So I was sent home the same day I had my son. And I remember starting to have flashbacks, and it wasn't a good memory of his birth. Every time I talk about it, I think, oh my God, that, you know, my son might not have made it had I not pressed the red button. And the midwife was just so like, oh yeah, well, you've had children before, deal with the pain. If I'd listened to her, it could have been a really sad story, like my son's not here, but praise be to God, he is here. And then later on throughout the year of 2018, I was told by my doctor and my midwife that I've experienced PTSD, and this is something that will be ongoing. So I've had to deal, it's another trauma, guys. This is something as women who have children, they experience. Some people experience postnatal depression, and obviously some people experience PTSD. There's a lot of people, a lot of us think it's just women that experience this, but actually men also can experience PTSD because they're in the actual labour room with you. They're actually seeing everything and going, oh my God, what's going on here? I'm not used to this. So you can't just look at mothers and say, oh, it's just about mums. And even though Marsha's doing diaries of a black mum, there's many dads out there that have also suffered, have also taken on the feelings, the experiences, and we have to actually recognise that. And the thing for me is, I don't dwell on saying, oh yeah, I had PTSD. Sometimes I can relate to new mums who have just had a newborn baby and they don't know, you know, why do they feel so tearful, or why do they, you know, feel all these emotions, and I can relate to it. I've had baby blues with my first child. My twins were born at 26 weeks, and that was just a whole nother set of emotions, because it was like I gave birth to my twins on that Wednesday morning. My twins stayed in the hospital in intensive care and I was sent home. And I remember coming home and my eldest daughter going, where's my sisters? And I was like, they're in the hospital. And even my family came to visit me. They were like, but you just had twins, where are they? And I'm like, they're in intensive care, and you know, can't have much visitors because they're really poorly. There's a lot of things that you go through from when you have your first child, when you've given birth. It's a lot to deal with, but I've recognised a way for me to get through PTSD back then, and now I'm no longer suffering with that. But I can look back and think, oh my God, yeah, this is what helped me, is exercise. I know exercise does a number of things. Exercise for me, it also gets my heart rate up, brings in all them endorphins, the adrenaline rush and all that stuff, but it also helps me sleep, because I work so hard in the workout class or in the actual gym that in that evening I get a good night's sleep. And sleep deprivation actually affects everyone. So whether you're a male or a female, if you don't get enough rest, it can actually have a knock-on effect for the next day. You know, and everyone laughs, but when you first have a newborn, you love that little baby and it's so soft and it smells so fresh, but then you think, oh my God, this baby's eating every 2 hours and I need to sleep. And if you don't actually get into a routine, you then become deprived of sleep and get irritable. And if you don't have any support, or if you don't have a partner that you're living with, or who's actually able to do the night shift, or you do the night shift and he does a day shift, or grandparents are not there to help, or elder children and cousins are able to help, it can get intense. It can get quite a lot. And you know, this is why mothers especially are monitored quite closely at the beginning after they've had a baby, because if you're not getting enough rest, this is how depression can start kicking in, postnatal depression. So exercise, I always say to mothers to be, think about your self-care, think about how are you going to get through this new season of having a baby. And that's what I wanted to share today. There's loads of topics that I want to talk about. There's going to be topics about how I was brought up, and you know, I can look back and laugh, but sometimes I think some of these things it wasn't cool, but I've experienced it, and you know, it's a part of what makes me Marsha B. So what I'm sharing today is it's about PTSD and how you can. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not medically trained. I'm just a mother of 5 children who has experienced different births and able to share parts of my story. I did say in my channel, you know, a lot of these things that I post in my videos, the timelines are not going to be like, oh yeah, today I did this and that. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be things that are on my heart I will talk about. If I don't have a topic that I can talk about, you won't hear me talk about it. But I've experienced so much in my life that, you know, I know there's gonna be someone that will relate to, oh my God, I had PTSD as well and I didn't know how to get through it. The best thing to do is always talk to, you know, your GP, talk to your midwife, talk to your health visitor. And there's also the Samaritans. Talk to, you know, if you have pastoral care, talk to someone in your church, or if you have a community that you're able to share with, a sister, a friend, a cousin, a loved one, whoever you want to share your concerns with, reach out to them. Just don't suffer in silence. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Some women get baby blues and think, oh, you know, I've got to be a tough mum and I can't really be experiencing all this. It's okay. It's okay to have baby blues. It's normal. It's natural. Your body has literally brought into the world new life. And that alone is a blessing. You know, I think about my 5 births thinking, wow, did you really have 5 children? And I look at them now and go, oh my God, I did. Look how grown they are. Look how nice and wholesome they are. But when you think about the births, I'm like, would I want to go back? No. If I had my son first, I would not have 5 children. If I had him first and that birth and the stress of it and, you know, no, because I remember I wrote 2 cards. One was a letter of thanks and gratitude to the doctors that came in, but also I had to put a letter of complaint to say, you know, I felt like I was neglected. The midwife that I had, I know she's very young, she said she hadn't delivered many children, and I wasn't knocking her for that, but I felt like the inexperienced person just didn't actually take note of this woman. And would it have been different if I was from a different culture or different race? Who knows? But they seem to think us black women are 20 times stronger than any other woman out there, and we're not. We still feel pain, guys. We still bleed the same colour. Like, we're human. We're not abnormal. We're not aliens. So yeah, this lady's chatting real loud in the background. So it's a diaries of a black mum. I hope that you've enjoyed this video today. I will be back tomorrow talking about some other stuff, and just join me on this journey. Just keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing, subscribe to my channel. This is all new to me. My daughters have watched the first videos and they're like, Mum, we're super proud. It is new. People might not like it. People might get upset. This is not about anyone out there in the world. This is about Marsha B and my experiences, and I just want to share. And I know that there might be an expert who watches these videos and goes, actually, you know, I can help you on this matter, Marsha, because, you know, this, or, you know, but sharing is caring, as one of my twins keeps telling me. So I'm going to keep sharing my journey and hope that you enjoy the ride and watch this space. I've got so much topics to talk about, topics that will last me till the end of the year, and I know that new topics will form and come out of conversations with people as well. But please like, share, and just give me a thumbs up. Tell me that you like the content, and if you don't like the content, press the thumb button and send me a message and tell me what parts you didn't like. Are you rambling on, Marsha? Then tell me. Obviously I'm feeling a bit better today because obviously having the counselling session the day before last was quite intense, and I'll continue doing these things. I just want to shout out and say thank you to those that actually sent me some critiques, because critiques, whether it's a good or a negative or a positive, I take feedback really well. It's always good to learn. to get different perspectives from different people, and they show me like, oh, actually I wouldn't personally do these videos because X, Y and Z. Some people say, actually, you know, you're really brave and I commend you. They might have experienced certain things and are not able to actually speak out for themselves, but you know, if I can be a voice to another person, then I believe what my journey is and what I'm doing right now is beneficial to many, many people and not just to myself. So thank you for watching. I'll be back on tomorrow talking about other things, being a black mum. So this is Diaries of a Black Mum. I literally just want to heal, learn, grow and love. Thank you guys.